What's up, guys? Welcome back to the Post Pro podcast. It's episode 17, and we have not a lot of stuff to talk about, movie news-wise. But as we were just discussing before we started hitting record, Sebastian had a heck of a movie week. Excited to hear your thoughts on that. And then excited to talk about our feature today. Because...
Yeah. Once again.
At least
another...
3 people went into this time. Right?
Oh, yeah, exactly.
Yeah, so now you know how it feels when it comes to trick or treat.
No, it's happened before, Sebastian.
Well, I wasn't
That
there
wasn't
for
the
that
first
slaughter.
time.
I wasn't
Exactly,
there
yeah,
for
yeah.
that. I wasn't
Yeah.
there for that.
But
That's fine.
first things
Opinions
first.
are opinions.
Yeah, we'll get there. First things first. Mulan, live action, Disney, the one that was supposed to come out earlier this year. It's heading to Disney Plus. Finally,
$30. Pay up.
$30.
That's
Hey,
not insane. So is it $30 and you need a Disney Plus subscription?
Yes.
Yeah.
That's stupid.
It's like they're rolling out like it's literally just for Mulan. It's called like Disney Plus something. It's like some new like
Disney Plus
subscription.
Mulan.
Yeah, I don't know, but they're
Disney
gonna charge
Plus
you.
Plus.
They're gonna or some stupid shit, and they're gonna charge you $30 just to watch Mulan because they think that you're gonna watch it with like your family. So I mean, if you have a family that's gonna watch it, I mean, 30 isn't bad, but I mean, it's still kind of crazy.
Yeah, I guess that actually makes sense. I didn't even really think about it that way.
Yeah, I
but
think that's like
still.
the point.
Because $30
That's why,
is
like,
like 2 tickets. Going to
Trolls 2
movies.
Yeah.
was like $20 to rent.
Yeah, they're expecting you
That
to like,
made a shit
watch
ton of
it
money.
they're expecting you to watch it with like your family.
That makes sense. Yeah.
Yeah.
We just get the boys together and we could have a Mulan.
Yeah.
Yeah, let's all pay up and watch
Dude,
it.
hell yeah.
Everyone pitching.
Which I actually, in my opinion, I think it looks probably the best out of all the Disney live action remakes. I think it looks pretty good.
I just
I
find
think
I don't really
so.
have a strong opinion.
Because
I was gonna
they
say-
they made it historically like accurate and like they have a lot of cool fight choreography and they got rid of Eddie Murphy's dragon character. So I mean it looks cool.
Yeah, but they're swaying away from the whole musical thing, which I thought was
Yeah.
Yeah, that's strange.
weird because most Disney movies, live action or not, music is key.
That's
So,
what I'm saying. It might
Especially
be a pretty good one.
Mulan.
yeah.
I mean,
I mean-
yes.
Well,
But,
okay,
like,
maybe not especially Mulan. Yes, all of them, as Collin said.
Well, yeah. But I see what you're saying because like when they first said like I'm gonna make a man out of you as an
Mm-hmm.
I was like, huh? And then they said, okay, we're just not making a musical.
Yeah.
And I was like, well, huh? Oh, well, okay.
Yeah, it's strange.
Okay.
I don't know. Mulan just has some bangers, and we're
But
not
at
going to be
least
able to
they're
listen
not
to the
just, like-
bangers.
At least they're not just like straight remaking it, which is really annoying and bad.
Sure.
Yeah. That's
They're
why
doing
I'm
something
like
a little
kind of
different.
excited. That's why I'm kind of excited to see this, but I will not be paying $30 for it. So
Yeah, for sure.
Unless we get the boys together and have a Mulan night, right?
I mean,
Mulan commentary track.
my God.
Oh gosh, hey, that'd be great. Although we'd probably get copyright claimed because it's you know.
Yeah, new movie.
So other than that, not much to talk about. I know.
John Wick! John Wick! Let's go. John Wick, back to back.
John Wick.
Was
back to back.
that planned?
No.
Yeah,
I'm just
Sebastian
excited.
and I it was like a
Yeah.
connection. I said you're about to scream John Wick right
John
now.
Wick. I'm excited. I love the John Wick movies, and now we're going to get 4 and 5 back
Yeah.
to back.
Yeah, it's pretty exciting.
With The Matrix, too.
Oh yeah, Matrix 4.
Oh, shit.
Do you guys
I mean,
remember that?
that's more exciting.
COVID?
Yeah, I do.
COVID, well, no, because COVID fucked it up, but it was supposed to be like Keanu Reeves Day. We were going to have Matrix 4 and John Wick 4 out the same day.
Oh, I think I do remember
Oh,
that.
I was going to be the same
But
day.
Yeah.
I haven't even thought about that in like months.
Yeah, Keanu was going
that'd
to
be
rule the box
chaos.
office. Keanu would have ruled the box office for like at least 3 weeks.
Probably a couple months or something like that.
Yeah,
Yeah.
definitely.
Yeah, if you're
That's
counting
nice.
both movies.
I mean, what do you guys think about The Matrix? Because I honestly, like,
I mean-
I'm not really excited for it because I honestly thought the only good one is the first one. So I'm not
Agreed,
really
yeah.
excited.
I don't think Revolutions Reloaded are that bad. I don't think
Mm,
they're awful.
They're not good.
The-
I think they're great, and I'm really excited for the sequel. But I mean,
Okay,
totally-
my thing is, I'm not excited for the sequel, though. I don't know why they're trying to reboot, or not, I guess, or reboot, yeah, a franchise that hasn't really been prevalent for quite a while now.
Almost 20 years.
I know, but
I
the
mean-
thing, Revolutions was like awful. The CGI in that just kills me, dude.
yeah, like obviously, no, there are definitely like bad things about those movies, but I still like them,
Yeah, they're not bad.
and not like ironically or whatever.
I'm
But
just-
I mean, like I understand I'm in the minority for that. So
Yeah. I'm just kind of wondering what they're going to do because I thought from it's been a while since I've seen the Matrix films, but from memory, I thought it wrapped up well enough. I guess I don't know. I mean,
Yeah, I mean, it definitely like it would have been weird to make a sequel like 5 years later, but I think like 20 years later or however long it actually is gonna make like slightly more sense because the end is like they're rebuilding a new civilization, so it does actually make like a certain amount of sense to do like
Sure.
okay, 20 years on, like how far is that rebuilding going and like
Yeah.
integration of like machines and people and stuff like that.
then Agent Smith crawls out of
Yeah.
the floor.
I really hope he's in the movie because
I was gonna say, I think I mean, like, who knows if this is true, but I think he was like specifically like not part of the cast announcements, and I forget if it was like he said he was not going to be in it, or if it was just like we're not sure if he's in it. But I think that's one of those things.
He
Where,
has
like,
to
who
be.
knows?
Which either way could be just part of, the
I
grand.
mean, yes, yeah,
But
obviously.
yeah.
Isn't correct me if I'm wrong. I believe is it the sister who's writing the movie?
Wachowskis? Are
Yeah,
the
who is-
Wachowskis writing it?
I thought there
yeah.
was like a
I
woman.
mean, there might be other writers.
Well,
I think it's
the Wachowskis
Lily.
are two women that direct them.
Yeah.
Oh, do they not co-write?
Huh?
Do they not co-write?
No, they did. Lily and Lana Wachowski wrote and directed all three of the original Matrix
Yeah.
movies, and
Mhm.
I think Lily, but I might be wrong, is the only person attached to the new one.
Huh.
And there might be like other screenwriting people, but I think she is involved with this.
I don't know. I just need a sequel for the Wachowskis' true masterpiece, Speed Racer. Now that's
I mean,
a film.
No, that is a good
No,
movie.
oh,
but,
I'm
like,
not
I
even
haven't
joking.
seen
I
it.
love Speed
Yeah.
Racer.
I like all of their movies except for Jupiter Ascending, which is fine.
I haven't
I've
seen Jupiter
only
Ascending
seen the
or,
Matrix films.
I saw
Honestly,
Speed Racer. It was okay.
I think Speed Racer is pretty underrated. I
Like,
think it was pretty ahead of its time too, in terms of what
Yeah.
it was.
No, I mean, I agree. Like, if you go back
Yeah.
and watch the movie, it's like crazy how. Yeah, so weird. Anyway, so do we want to talk about something else?
Yeah.
No.
Any other?
Let's just keep
any
rambling on.
movie? Yeah.
Was there any other
Any news other than that?
Fine.
Theaters are reopening.
Theaters reopening?
officially now.
Yeah. I mean,
Great.
once we get there, we get there, I guess.
Yeah. We'll see what happens when it happens.
Yeah.
But like, what's weird is I was at Universal. I went to Universal for the first time. Their theaters open.
Right, really?
The Cinemarks, yeah, they have these pretty much all the safety protocols we talked about in that one podcast. Where they have like the fucking spray that you go and like spray the seats.
Foggers.
Yeah,
Wow.
and they got all this stuff. And they've been showing like movies that didn't make it to the theater that were on streaming, and they've been showing old movies and
Oh
stuff.
shit! Really?
Yeah, Michael told me the other day. Shout out, Michael. Remember that episode?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah,
He
Awesome.
told me.
yeah.
Yeah, he told me he went and saw the Three Amigos there the other day.
Three Amigos.
Is that what it is? Three Amigos with Steve Martin.
I think so. I've never seen it or like really even gotten like I don't know that much about it, but that sounds
Yeah.
right.
That sounds right. Well, we'll say it's right.
Yeah.
But yeah, no. So and then when Regal reopens, they're showing like The Dark Knight. So I think I'm actually probably gonna go out and watch The Dark Knight and Inception. And there's only two. And then they're showing like a lot of like recent movies again. Like they're throwing Black Panther in the theater again.
Yeah.
And then, like there's a whole bunch of like newer movies they're showing. They're showing Avengers again. I think. I don't know. There's a lot of like really weird movies. I'm like, why are you showing this again?
They were
But
showing
to get
Pulp
audiences back
Fiction
out there.
at the
Yeah, I mean,
Universal
because they're
City Walk. Sebastian.
Are they actually?
Yeah.
I might have to go watch that in the theater then.
That's today, so you might want to leave right now to catch the
All right, I'll see you guys later.
Yeah.
All right, see you, Sebastian. All right, so let's hop into what we watched. Huh? How does that sound, guys?
Yeah, it sounds
Yeah, let's
great.
do it.
All right, so you go first.
I watched nothing pretty much.
Sebastian,
Oh.
did you?
Cool. Who's next?
Yeah. Were you able to
Um,
Mulholland Drive, Sebastian?
Because I got busy. I had to take an exam last night because I was going to try to like fit it in like before I watched my exam and I didn't. And so actually probably after the podcast or tomorrow, that is what I'm going to try to do.
Okay.
I'm very interested to see what you think of that one. That's a
Well,
movie.
I'll be writing a full review for it.
Oh,
I
a full
promised
review.
Colin-
I'm excited.
I promised Colin I'd write a full
Wow.
review for it.
So what else? Did you watch anything else or?
Oh yeah, I'll give you guys my
Right.
my quick little
Give us a
I
rundown.
really have not watched a lot. So last week, because I was not here, I watched Rampage, starring Dwayne the Rock Johnson, and it was stupid. It was stupid fun, and I enjoyed it. That's pretty much all I have to say about that.
Yeah.
Then I watched James Gunn's The Belko Experiment, which was like The Office.
I
And,
never
yeah, it was like The
Gunn.
Office and Battle Royale in one movie, and it was fine. It was a fun movie. I rewatched the theatrical cut of Watchmen, and I think it's a masterpiece. I watched The Crow, which I also love to death, and rewatching that was pretty great. I love The Crow. I watched Reservoir Dogs. Again, fantastic movie. It's great. I watched American Psycho with one of my old friends, and she liked it. And, good movie. Nothing really much to say I haven't already said about that one. I watched Being John Malkovich to kind of prepare myself for Anomalisa, because I've been wanting to rewatch it for a while anyway, and it was fine. It's a very weird movie. It is.
I love that movie.
To quote my review, I literally just said, I said, I hope Kaufman snorted some cocaine or something, because no rational person would ever come up with this, because, I mean, that's pretty true.
Nope. He didn't. I mean, I think that's just his mind.
I just don't understand how someone could come up with such a fucking weird movie. Like,
It's
let's
so
just
crazy.
have John Malkovich.
I was actually watching an interview with John Malkovich the other day, and he was talking about how when the script arrived at his desk, he offered Kaufman, he was like, okay, we'll buy the script from you, but we want it to be Tom Cruise, and I'm directing it. And Kaufman was just like, no, I'm okay. See ya. Talk to you soon. And then they just didn't have any work for a while, so he just called him back up and was like, fine, we'll do it.
So just curious, when he wrote the script, was it John Malkovich in mind? Okay.
And apparently it was always John Malkovich. That's why when they offered Tom Cruise, he was like, no, it has to be Malkovich.
I think Tom Cruise honestly would have been interesting.
Yeah.
I mean, yeah, like I prefer John Malkovich.
Being
I mean, like I think Tom Cruise would have been good, but like in a sort of different way.
But Malkovich.
No, I know.
Malkovich.
Yes, I understand
Malkovich.
Yes.
Cruise.
Malkovich. I love that movie. Just that scene where he goes into his own head and just the dinner party where it's only Malkovich. Oh man.
Yeah, I mean, I like that movie a lot too.
It was like an acid trip. It was
So good.
It was a weird movie, but I liked it. I mean, I don't hate it. It's just I just find it's just one of the like weirdest concepts I think I've ever seen in a film.
Yeah.
To be honest, like that's what I'm saying. Like he had to have been high or something to write that script, because there's no way that someone was just like, you know what, Kaufman was just like, you know what, I want to make a movie where we go into John Malkovich's head and other people could be John Malkovich. Just no rational person would pick John. I don't know, dude. It's a weird fucking concept, okay? And then I watched The Kissing Booth 2, and I saw the first one a long time ago because I was at a friend's house.
Because you just wanted to watch a good movie, right?
Yeah. So I was at a friend's house, and we were like looking for trash to watch on Netflix because I love watching trash movies. So I had heard The Kissing Booth from Your Movie Sucks. They had watched it, and I was like, you know what? I want to watch this piece of shit. So I watched it, and it was fantastic. It was like so bad, and it was just the acting is awful. Everything about it is awful, but it's so laughably bad. Like I just looked at it as a comedy. It's pretty great. It's like the room of teenage movies. It's fantastic. And then I got on Netflix, and there was a second one, and I'm like, I have to watch this. I have to see how they continue the saga of The Kissing Booth. And it was just as bad as the first one. And it was fantastic.
Sebastian, are you going to pick up the box set Criterion release coming out later this year?
I will be.
Sounds great, yeah.
But The Kissing Booth 2 was just as bad as the first one, and the acting was just as atrocious, and the story was just as awful, and the kissing was just as bad. So if you all want to watch...
The kissing's bad?
Yeah, if you all want to watch...
Kissing booth?
How?
If you want to watch a really funny teenage awful drama, watch The Kissing Booth and Kissing Booth 2 back-to-back, and you'll want to kill yourself just as much as I did. And then
But tell yourself, because they got a third one coming.
Yeah, I'm waiting for the third one. It's coming.
It's coming. Like confirmed? Like in production? Yeah. Oh my god!
I don't know if it's in production yet, but
so many people watch them, dude. So, dude, it was like it was like top trending on Netflix for like a week.
Yeah, dude, Joey King is like an idol to 13-year-old girls.
Yeah.
Nice.
Great.
So yeah, it was great. And then I watched Anomalisa, which we'll get into later. So
See, so you didn't watch nothing. You watched quite a bit.
Not a
Yeah.
lot, though. Not a lot. I mean, like, I definitely not as much as Noah, obviously. But
Okay, whatever, man.
That's the goal
Okay.
every week. We have to beat Noah,
Yeah.
by tenths.
I think, ironically, just your movies last week beat mine last week, Sebastian. But then you weren't on, so that was
Yeah.
kind of funny.
Just your movies. How many did 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9? Yeah, you watched 9 last week.
Yeah, and I
Hey,
think I
Lark.
only got around to 8. So
Oh, you did it.
You were on vacation though, right? So
well,
No, well, let's not discount Sebastian's feet here.
yeah, go Sebastian.
And speaking of Noah, would you
Yeah.
like to speak? Take the floor.
Yes, I would. Okay, so yeah, okay. So this week I kind of wanted to. I mean, this is something that I've been kind of thinking about doing for a while, and then I just kind of did it this week, where I just like went a week only, except for the movie that I had to watch because Thomas picked it for this week. I only watched movies from the 1970s, and I tried to pick like a weird, like just a kind of wide variety. Like I didn't try to go like all crime or all drama or anything like that. So the first one is honestly like probably the least well known, which is Beneath the Planet of the Apes, the first Planet of the Apes sequel, which was released in 1970. And honestly, like watching it, I mean, like obviously it is more of a 60s movie because it was like written and developed in the 60s, but also like it's very obviously like just you watch it and you're like, this is like a Star Trek episode but feature length, and like if you've like seen Star Trek, it's just like really obvious.
It is.
Yeah. And honestly, like I like Star Trek, so it was fine. Definitely not great or anything. And I think some people like really like the sequels, but most people just haven't seen them, and most people that do see them like don't like them.
Yeah.
And I guess I'm kind of like lukewarm on it. I probably will watch the others eventually. I don't know if it'll be soon. Who knows? I mean, not really on my watch list.
They're not bad, man. They really aren't bad.
Yeah, like they definitely don't seem bad. Oh, right. Also, like, okay, I don't want to talk about the ending, but the ending to this movie is literally like insane. It's so baffling. Like, okay, I don't want to talk about it, but it is like the strangest, the absolute
Okay, well, you
strangest
can't
ending
leave
to
us
write
on
into a
that.
movie.
I think you need to talk about it.
Okay, so spoilers for the Planet of the Apes sequel. I like swear this is like worth actually watching, but okay, you want me to spoil it?
Yes.
Sure.
Spoilers
ahead. Spoiler
Okay,
warning.
okay. So the ending of the movie, which is essentially like the last 120 seconds, is like the Earth explodes. Like the planet Earth explodes. And it's just like, well, end over narration. Well, life is over on this small planet.
Wait,
And then there are 3 more sequels.
was there narration before?
No.
That-
there might have been something at
that's
the beginning.
That's so funny if there's just no narration in the entire movie and just ends with the world exploding and just narrating over
Well,
it.
life on this planet has ended.
I mean, it is more like artistic than I'm making it sound. There's like a fade to white. It doesn't like literally show like, you know, zoom out and there's like a model of the Earth exploding. It's not like that crazy. But, and like it sort of fits into the themes of like both the franchise and kind of the movie in general, where it's about like evolution and life evolving. And it's not like entirely out of nowhere, because like the final act is like based around a nuclear weapon and then it accidentally detonates in like the last minute, which is kind of, it's just bizarre that like
Yeah.
it's such like for like sci-fi and like early 60s sci-fi, you would kind of expect like the heroes always win and there's never any real nuance. And then this is just like, well, the Earth is over. And then there are 3 more sequels, which is like the weirdest part about it. I don't
Yeah.
like.
I
I think there's time travel involved, but
Nice.
I mean, I don't know. It might just be like prequels or something like that.
I think they're prequels.
Sure. Okay, so anyway, moving on to Halloween, which is like a good movie. I don't really know what to say. I mean, I guess the only like interesting thing here is like I sort of have an aversion to horror movies, as I've mentioned before, and I don't really like it didn't really follow through for this one. I thought it was like tense without being overly scary until the final act, which I think is, I mean, not like super scary or anything, but definitely like the most like I guess tense and yeah, scary part of the movie in general. And I mean, it's pretty short, so I think that works for me too. So yeah, good movie. Moving on to Willy Wonka and the Chocolate Factory, which was a first-time watch, although I have seen Charlie and the Chocolate Factory before. I mean, I like Willy Wonka better, as I think most people do. Although I don't think Charlie is really that bad. I just think this one is, like, it's less bizarre. I mean, both of them are, like, still bizarre, as are all, like, Roald Dahl
Yeah, we
works and
talked about this
adaptations.
before,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah, I was
This
gonna
is
say,
a
Thomas-
week where I watched both of them.
Yeah.
I mean, I feel like this one is a lot, like, once you've seen Charlie, you see this one and you're like, this is, like, way less bizarre.
Well, it's a
even though
lot
it's
less
still-
dark too.
Yeah, exactly. I feel like that's the main thing. Even though it is, like, weirdly dark for, like, a supposed children's movie, I feel like you don't even really register that if you've seen the other one, which is, like, way weirder, and it has Johnny Depp, which is, like, such an odd casting choice. I mean, it makes sense because Tim Burton and whatever, but anyway, yeah, I thought it was good. Okay, and then I watched Nashville, which is Robert Altman's, like, I guess it's like his magnum opus, according to some people. I didn't really like it because the thing okay, so it's 160 minutes long, 2 hours, 40 minutes, and it focuses on 24 main characters.
Wow.
Which,
Wow.
yeah, exactly.
What?
I was like, I don't know, maybe this is good. And then, like, I feel like you either need to have less characters or you need to have way more or way less runtime. At least to, like, I definitely see how people could like it. And I'm not, like, really baffled by why people like it so much, but it just didn't really work for me because you have so many characters and you're devoting, like, just kind of, like, the wrong amount of time to them. It either needs to be, like, way less for me or way more in the form of, like, a miniseries or something so that you can get, like, actual character arcs out of all of them. Which, like, I mean, all of Robert Altman's movies are kind of, like, what's the word I'm looking for? Like, drifting and pointless, and not a lot of them necessarily have, like, super defined arcs. But I think when it's literally playing out, like, 24 times, it just...
Isn't it a musical?
Yes, it's, like, live performances. It's not, like, a musical, but there is, like, live performed music. And
It's about
like
Nashville.
Yeah, exactly. It's set in Nashville, and it's, like, people recording in studios and people playing for live audiences and stuff like that. It's, like, it's not a musical in the sense of, like, Willy Wonka, where it's like, why are these people bursting into song? This doesn't make any sense. But, you know. So I guess that's it on that. And I watched the Muppet movie for the first time, which... So I have seen both of the most recent Muppet movies, and I have also seen a few other ones, but, like, from my childhood, like, I think Treasure Island and From Space are the other ones that I've seen. So I don't really remember any of them that well. I guess I kind of remember Muppets Most Wanted a lot. But anyway, I really like this one. It's pretty good. It's funny and sustained, and, like, all of the music is good. I mean, I feel like, you know, if you know what the Muppets are, you're kind of into them, or you're not.
Yeah.
And I kind of am. So, you know.
You haven't seen Kermit Swamp Ears, right?
Yeah, that's
No, I
Colin's
have
favorite
not.
one. That's Colin's
Oh,
favorite.
It's so good, but it's so funny.
Don't talk
Great.
about Kermit's Swamp Ears.
Okay. And then I watched Blazing Saddles, which... Have any of you seen that?
That's
Yeah.
with Gene
No,
Wilder,
actually.
right?
Yeah.
Yeah, Gene
Yeah, I
Wilder
love that.
and...
It's Mel
you
Brooks.
have
Directed
seen
by
it.
Mel
Okay,
Brooks.
yeah.
Yeah.
Right. Okay. So I ended up liking it a lot. Honestly, most of these movies, with the exception of Nashville, which I just talked about, I liked a lot. And I don't know. I mean, like, Blazing Saddles, again, it's just kind of like a comedy. I guess the only interesting thing about it is, like, it has aged weirdly because it's, like, a black comedy, and a lot of the jokes have to do with, like, racism and sexism, which, like, like, I talked about Airplane, where I was like, those jokes just, like, kind of don't fully land for me. But for Blazing Saddles, a lot of them weirdly do.
Yeah.
And it definitely is, like, a dated movie in a lot of ways. But I mean, like, it was also made, like, 50 years ago. I don't really know, like, what you're expecting going into it.
Mel
So I guess I
Brooks.
was...
So, I mean, like, there's something you always associate with him in his movies, too. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
Gene
I guess
Wilder
that's
is so
true.
good.
Yeah, Gene Wilder is really good in it. I mean, like, everybody's good in it. I guess Gene Wilder is just the most, like, movie star performance. I mean, Madeline Kahn is great. Madeline Kahn is, who is also in Paper Moon and the other one, What's Up Dog, that I watched last week. I don't know, Madeline Kahn, really good actor, apparently, and really good comedic actor. She's, like, the best part of every movie that I've seen her in. It's crazy. Okay, moving on to Mean Streets, which is Martin Scorsese's, not technically debut, but, like, his first real movie, I guess, because his other two, one of them was, like, really low budget. Like, I think it was basically, like, following for Christopher Nolan.
Yeah.
It's like sort of a movie, but it's more just like him learning how to direct and stuff like that. And then the other one was like a Roger Corman movie, so sort of doesn't count because it's not really, Anyway, so Mean Streets, I liked, I guess. I don't really know. I guess obviously it is similar to a lot of Scorsese movies, and then it's like about mobsters who like are in with the wrong crowd and are the wrong crowd, and then eventually bad things happen. So I feel like there's not really a lot to say there other than, anyway, I'm losing total control in the sentence. I don't really know what I'm saying, but anyway, I guess if you like other Scorsese movies like Goodfellas and The Irishman and stuff like that.
That's what I thought, but when I watched Mean Streets, I didn't like it. I liked the performances. I thought Robert De Niro was really good, and Harvey Keitel was really good. I don't know. It was like one of the few Scorsese movies that was kind of boring to me.
Me too. I agree.
I agree with that. It's definitely like the most boring one that I've seen, I guess. I don't know that I would necessarily say that I was bored by it, but there definitely was a lot of stuff just like, especially in the middle, where they're just kind of like hanging out in the bar and not a lot really happens other than conversations. But I think the ending is like really, really solid.
Yeah.
Like even just the last like 40 minutes, honestly, like starts to pick up in pace. So I think that's why it ended up kind of winning me back. Launched Eraserhead, which I think Thomas has talked about on this podcast, maybe not.
Episode 1.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
I liked it. It's like
it's strange.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think
know.
that's one of those movies where you can't really define why you like it. You either do or you kind of just don't.
Right.
But that's kind of I agree. I think the thing that really I realized while I was watching this is that like all Lynch movies kind of work on like you understand like very basically what they're about. Like Mulholland Drive is about like corruption of Hollywood, and Wild at Heart is about being wild at heart, and this is about like alienation under capitalism. But like once you try to investigate them more, it gets like really difficult to fully understand like what every minor detail is, unless you've seen it like a lot of times or you are David Lynch, the person who made the movies. So yeah, I think this one was pretty captivating in a way that like sometimes, like especially Wild at Heart, and also I think like Blue Velvet kind of delve into like repeating themselves, and obviously this one does too, but I think delve into repeating themselves to the point where you're like, okay. And also David Lynch tends to, like in a lot of his later movies, get, like famously in Twin Peaks The Return, there's like a 6-minute shot of like someone cleaning the floor. It's like, okay. This is kind of boring.
I just wanted to say real quick, I find it interesting you said like this was about alienation under capitalism, because I see it as like like being afraid of becoming a father.
That's what I perceived it as too.
Yeah, no, I think it's like, but I think those two are like tied together, and I think like it's about like the nuclear family, and not just like afraid of being a father, but afraid of being a husband. And I think that a lot of that has to do with like capitalism and like him working at the factory and like him not having enough time, which obviously it's really open to interpretation, and a lot of that isn't necessarily explicit. Like you don't really see a lot of him going to the factory or actually doing anything there, but that's just kind of my interpretation, I guess.
Gotcha.
All right, and then the last movie I watched this week was Mikey and Nicky, starring Peter Falk and John Cassavetes, written and directed by Elaine May, who... Okay, so I have sort of a lot of thoughts on this one, which I don't necessarily want to share all of them because it gets sort of into spoilery territory. So Elaine May is like famous for directing like 3 good movies, and then also Ishtar, which is like widely considered like one of the worst movies ever made. So
wow.
This is like a weird note to start off on, I guess, especially for my thoughts on this. But I definitely like watching this. It's so weird because like I really liked it, and not for like schlock value or anything, but there definitely is a lot of like the dialogue is definitely weird, and I could see someone not fully enjoying it. And there's like a lot of like the sound editing is a little off, and there's like a lot of noticeable ADR. So like it definitely, you can like see how she also made like a bad movie. Obviously I don't know if Ishtar is actually bad or not, but So I guess like that's a one. Anyway, I guess that is sort of like the most interesting point that I wanted to talk about without like necessarily getting into why I loved it per se. The other thing, which was like my letterbox review, is it is like weirdly, like actually depressing and upsetting in a way that I didn't fully expect for. Like I guess it's basically a noir. Technically, they're like working for mobsters, but they have like the long jackets and the ties and everything, and it's like Peter Falk, who is like more of a noir character. Well, I mean, actor,
Yeah.
than a sort of mobster crime actor. And it is like them. I mean, like the title. It's just like them kind of hanging out for a while, and then eventually some stuff happens. But yeah, I'd say check it out. So yeah, that's it for this week.
All right. So I guess I'll go next, and then
Mr. Base Night.
Yeah.
Base Night.
Yeah. Base Night. Mr. Base Night.
It's not how you pronounce it, but whatever.
No, I'm not pronouncing your last name. I'm pronouncing the two words separated.
Is that his artist name?
Yeah.
Base Night. He's
Yeah,
a
if you ever make if you ever make dance music,
There's only one S.
You
I
have the
mean,
perfect name. You have the perfect name for being an EDM DJ.
yeah. Okay, so no, I'm laughing. All right, so I started off the week with Begotten, film that Thomas has seen, and
I like.
yeah, you loved it apparently, and I really did not like it. It was
Common trend.
Yeah, there's like common trend between my loves and
my
we'll end it there.
Punch-Drunk in Love sucks, Thomas. I'm gonna say
no.
That's one that I do like. I do like Punch.
I know, I'm kidding.
I don't think it's as good as Thomas thinks it is. Yeah, but Begotten, it was just I couldn't even tell what was going on half the time because of the contrast and lighting and all, and it was just like the first 10 minutes. I was like, okay, we got an hour left, and I'm already like dying here. So I didn't like it, but I could appreciate certain aspects.
So would you rather watch Green Lantern?
Probably, yeah.
Yeah, I mean, just something about Begotten just terrified me. Like, just
See,
from start to end,
it
just
didn't affect me at all. I was like, ooh, that's kind of gross. And then...
Yeah, I don't know. It's just like the sound design and just the imagery overtoning it.
Yeah.
I don't
No,
know.
I mean, I completely can get why someone would like it. I just didn't.
You just didn't.
Yeah. So after that, I watched a short documentary about the Holocaust to lighten things up. And,
Yeah.
It was called Night and Fog. Uh-oh. Cameo. New guitar?
He's got a guitar in his hand. Dude, tell him to break out. Tell him to break. Oh. I wanted him to play Sweet Child of Mine. I wanted him to start ripping Sweet Child of Mine. Darn it.
I'm sorry. Maybe next time.
Maybe next time.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I'm sure it'll happen
we
again.
need coordinated cameos at this point. Tell him to come in
Honestly,
parts.
Tell him to like
Maybe
show
they are
up and just
coordinated.
riff. Just tell him to riff.
Maybe they are.
yeah, maybe I'm just duping all of you. I'm creating content for us.
They
There you
do
go.
keep happening. So
Bringing in the views. So anyway, I watched a documentary called Night and Fog. It was really good. It was really tough to watch at times, and I was sad after it. So
Yeah,
sounds great.
I think that's how you know when something's good.
yeah, I
Very
felt really
uplifting.
sad. So I just watched baseball for the rest of the night. After that, I watched Tree of Life, which is one of the new Criterions I got, and I didn't like it, which was really sad because
You have a
25
bad track record.
When it comes to Criterion buys, yeah, I think
Yeah.
from now on, I'm just going to buy ones I know I like and not take any risk anymore. But, it's obviously a really well-made film. The child performances are some of the best I've seen. All the performances are great. The music's great. The imagery is great. Terrence Malick really knows how to make, images pop. All the...
I don't hear any negatives yet,
Easy.
Collin.
But it was just boring. I couldn't get into it. And it's mainly the way Terrence Malick structures his films, they just don't work for me. It's a very free-flowing cyclical stream of conscious that just doesn't feel like it's leading anywhere. it just doesn't work for me. It's as simple as that.
I mean, that's pretty much my take on the movie too, which is the only Malick movie I've seen.
Okay.
But yeah, I mean, I don't even really dislike it. And also like I watched it in like 3 parts because I
Gotcha.
just kept being like, all right, I'm really not getting anything from this. So I think if I like watched 3 hours for like 3 consecutive hours, I would just really hate it.
Yeah.
But instead, like breaking it up, it was just kind of like, I mean, this is well made, but I don't really like it, I guess.
Yeah.
Yeah, this was the third of his I've seen. The first one, his feature Badlands, is a much more traditionally structured film, which I like. I think I just like that traditional structure better than what I guess he's known for, because then when I saw Hidden Life, it was very much similar to this. And so I think that's sort of his like directorial trademark, that sense of structure he has that's very not fragmented, but it's like just kind of all over.
I mean, stream of consciousness kind of encapsulates it best.
Sure. Okay, yeah.
Oh my
Um,
god, I didn't realize how long Hidden Life was.
oh yeah, it's almost 3
Oh,
hours.
wait.
Is it
Oh, I
longer
didn't
than
know
Tree
that.
of Life?
That's
Or?
crazy. Well, Tree of Life
Wow.
has an
Yeah, by
extended
quite a
cut,
few.
which might not be.
Yeah, the
Tree of
director's
Life
cut.
has an extended cut, which
Yeah,
I
it's
think
over
might
3
end up being
hours.
longer.
Yeah.
Is
Which
that what
it's on the Criterion.
It's on the
actually.
Criterion?
Yeah.
So you have
I
the
just watched
option
it.
to watch it.
Yeah, I watched the theatrical, which I think was the right
140.
way to do. Yeah. So I mean, I think I'll still maybe check out a few more Terrence Malick movies, but I don't know if I'm going to enjoy them, just because of that style he has. After that, I rewatched Following, Christopher Nolan's debut. On the Criterion I have of that, there's actually an alternate edit which puts the events of the film in linear order. So I thought I would check that out. Yeah, it's called the linear edit. And I watched that, and it actually like makes the plot of the film a lot easier to understand, obviously.
Yeah.
But I think
It's a weird one.
yeah, but I think the way it was cut initially and how it was released is the right way to go. But this one, like, it has its pros about it. It helps you like understand certain things. So I think when I rewatch the original cut, I'll appreciate it even more. After that, continuing my DC animated binge that's still going on, I watched The Dark Knight Returns Part 1 and 2.
Totally agree with what you thought about that, by the way.
Really? Okay, cool.
Yeah, because I'm a huge like that's one of my favorite Batman comics,
Mm-hmm.
and like they kind of butchered it in animation form. So
Which is weird because they're considered some of the best ones that the DC animated universe.
yep.
So yeah, you and I are in the minority about that. I was actually interested to see what you'd think, Sebastian, if you had seen them. So
I've seen almost all of the DC animated movies.
okay, cool. In the 10th anniversary pack I have, it only comes with the deluxe edition, which is the cut of both of them all together. So it's like a 2.5 hour movie.
Yeah.
Which is not like animated films like this cannot be more than like 90 minutes. Otherwise they're going to be they're going to kill you. So that, I remember that killed me. So I decided to watch them separately this time, and they still just didn't work for me. After that, I rewatched Super 8, which is a really fun movie. I think J.J. Abrams is a good director. He just hasn't done a lot. I mean, he's done some big.
Yeah.
Yeah, if you want to talk about Lost real quick.
Yeah.
True.
Well, he's done a lot on TV for sure.
Yeah.
I think Super 8 has like the perfect encapsulation of J.J. Abrams in one movie, where it's just it's just the kids discussing like a simple plan, which could have easily just been like cutting to like the kid who's talking at the moment's face, but instead JJ is like, we should have the camera spin in a circle extremely fast around them, and that's just J.J. Abrams in a nutshell.
And lens flares. Lots of lens flares.
Yeah, and lots of lens flares.
I don't know. I think he's a good director, and I think Super 8's a lot of fun. It's obviously a big
I like that movie.
Spielberg blockbusters of like the 80s and stuff. And yeah, it's a good movie. Not as great as I had remembered, but it's still a lot of fun. After that, I watched Being John Malkovich in order to prepare myself as much as possible for Anomalisa. And it's definitely, I'll say this, it's the most enjoyable Kaufman-related film thus far I've seen. I laughed a lot watching this. I thought it was really funny. All the performances are great. I like the quirks, both in characters and in like physical setting and stuff. But just like by the end, like all these movies, I just was left cold.
Wait, okay, but what do you think about the ending? Did you not like the ending?
No, I thought the ending was interesting. I just was like, okay, I feel nothing. So that's just the common theme for all of these. Like, I think what it is, and I wrote this in my review, but like, he has these really inherently interesting and profound ideas at the film's core, and he surrounds it all by these like idiosyncrasies, blah blah blah, peculiarities, and quirkiness that just seems like it's trying to distract from what's in the middle. And like,
I mean, not to get ahead of ourselves, that's kind of what I thought of this week's movie, but not of the other ones that I've seen.
Okay.
I think the other ones kind of use those well, which, I mean, obviously, like, difference of opinion, whatever.
Yeah.
But I think being John Malkovich has, like, a lot going on, and none of it is really less interesting than anything else.
Sure, yeah. I definitely, like, enjoyed the weird and quirky aspects of it all, but just... I can't help but feel, and it just kind of clicked for me here, I think after seeing all the other ones as well, but it's just like the emotional core gets stripped away by the end because of all the weird stuff surrounding it, to me.
I agree.
Yeah, I can see that.
Yeah. So I still liked it. I enjoyed it. But I just doesn't work all the way for me. Then after that, I rewatched Europa Report, which is a 2013 sci-fi faux documentary found footage film I saw back in high school. And it doesn't hold up like well at all. I remember really liking this when I saw it. And it's just not very good. Acting's pretty underwhelming, even though it has a pretty solid cast. Yeah, it just didn't work. There are definitely some cool ideas, and for a low budget movie, it has some really great visuals, but this doesn't come together. It doesn't work. It's not framed well enough to completely buy the whole found footage documentary feel to. After that, continuing my Christopher Nolan marathon, I rewatched Memento, which is, I mean, it's fantastic. It's possibly Christopher Nolan's best script, and definitely his most interestingly told film. Structure is incredible. Every time I watch this movie, it's like watching it for the first time, which is kind of ironic, knowing how like the themes of memory and time and stuff. It's good. I mean, you piece together so many different things upon every rewatch, and I still feel like I want to rewatch it over and over and over again. It's good. And then after that, watched Anomalisa today, which we'll get into in a little bit.
Yeah. All right. Speaking of a little bit, it's my turn. So I started off the week with finishing out the Criterions, and I watched The Seventh Seal. And unsurprisingly, it's really damn good. It's obviously a really old movie, but it does a great job at like dealing with these ideas of religion and like the ideas of faith and how much you can trust in like your God, especially if you're being like the main character being such a religious man. The characters are really interesting. They deal with all situations in a way where you kind of like bleeds like their arcs together. I don't really know what I'm saying. It's good. I recommend it.
Is that your first Bergman?
Yeah. I want to keep watching his stuff or that. Oh, that's the other thing. It's like beautiful, especially if you're like being shot in black and white. And just his compositions and how he frames the scenes. It's just kind of magnificent. Then I watched Confessions of a Dangerous Mind, one of the other two like theatrically released Kaufmans I hadn't seen yet, and it's definitely my least favorite out of all of them. Sam Rockwell's character is like, there's nothing redeemable about him. You don't really enjoy his character at all, and by the end, you just don't care. Yeah, it's strange. Kaufman definitely does have a weird relationship with, I guess, like the human's idea of just sex and sexual nature and attractiveness to girls. What am I saying? Yeah, it's a strange movie.
But I like
probably not.
No, okay.
I don't know. I think, but not for the reasons that you wouldn't like traditional Kaufman, because I think there's less the two lesser known ones being Confession of the Dangerous Mind and Human Nature. I don't think you. I actually think there's a slight chance you might like Human Nature, because Human Nature surprised me how much I liked it too. But this one I think is just bad for a reason that you would think in a different sense. Then I watched Greener Grass.
1 second.
Was that?
Did it just like boom over by you or okay?
No,
Yeah.
that was just. I heard it through somebody's mic, and I was like,
That was
crap.
definitely my mic.
Okay, yeah, because
I'm surprised you guys haven't been hearing it yet.
no,
Because
we
it's
have.
been going. Yeah.
But you especially you just kind of slowed down. I think your computer lag for a second, and
It was weird.
but you're good.
Yeah, and then I watched Greener Grass, which has to be one of the strangest movies I've ever seen. It's and honestly, it's really enjoyable. It's just like an hour and I think 40 or an hour and a half of just kind of crazy absurdist comedy. And I mean, it's as I said, it's batshit crazy, mentally insane, strange, and unbelievably weird. It's something else, but I really
That was a lot of
recommend
words.
watching it.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. It's a lot of
The
fun.
short film that was made first, and it was weird. So I wanted to see the feature.
I recommend it. I just jolted for whatever reason. I recommend watching it. It's definitely strange. And I mean, if you like absurdist comedy, I don't see how you couldn't enjoy this.
Yeah.
Then I watched Anomalisa, and then I watched Human Nature, which, as I said minutes ago, I enjoyed way more than I thought I would. But I don't know. He has just this way of making these just the weirdest scripts, yet somehow they work. Because this one's about about humans that believe they're apes, and about human nature and how that like transforms from ape to human and human to ape, and like the similarities. It's so strange, but it's also like more traditional in the humor too. I don't even know what really to say about it. I kind of recommend watching that one and just forming your own opinion about it, because it's something else. And then I watched True Stories, the David Ryan directorial debut, and it's pretty good. It's like a really quirky snapshot of a town. You see, like, I mean, it's kind of what you'd expect from the guy who wrote all the songs for Talking Heads. It's pretty good. And if you like Talking Heads, I feel like you'd like that. All
right. So I guess that'll lead us into Anomalisa. Take it away.
Yeah, I don't know what I expected. I felt like Noah would like it a little bit more than your rating detailed, but I don't know. I still really like it. First of all, it's definitely just a beautiful film, especially for stop motion. There's a pretty cool documentary where they talk about how like each scene took almost a month to film. Just the amount of detail that went into it. It's pretty crazy. But just watching like just his character, like Michael's character, just kind of deform and develop over the course of just his kind of own mental insanity, and just like his thoughts of just his importance and like his own world. It's interesting, and like those around him. I don't know. I still definitely enjoy the movie, but your takes.
And that's going to wrap up the podcast.
That's it. I don't know. I feel like I'm stumbling over my own words my whole time speaking right now.
Well, I mean, I like Kaufman, and I think I think me and Thomas agree on this. I think Eternal Sunshine, I mean, it's one of my favorite movies like of all time. I think it's like a masterpiece. But I like that's when Kaufman like works for me, because with that movie in particular, just the characters and kind of everything about it really worked for me, and kind of the journey that Joel's character goes through with that movie. And Clementine is, to me, I'm not trying to sound like a fucking, like a 200 IQ individual, but the shit I've been through in my life so far, I don't know, it just kind of resonates with me a little bit, because there are some times where I wish I could forget people, and then I kind of wish I didn't. And I don't know, that movie speaks to me on a personal level, and I do think that like kind of everything about that movie is fantastic. And John Malkovich being John Malkovich, I think it's good, but I just don't think it's definitely like the best I've ever seen. I just think Kaufman's just kind of a weird director and writer because he's kind of all over the place for me. Like with the stuff I've seen, I do enjoy his like really weird take. He kind of reminds me in a weird way of Lynch slightly. He's kind of like I don't know how to really say this, but he reminds me of like if David Lynch only cared about sadness and like really like awful things in life, because that's really what Kaufman like does. He just kind of he just likes being sad for being sad, and that's what I got out of Anomalisa. It was just a depressing fucking movie, and I didn't really resonate with it because again I really do like Eternal Sunshine, and Eternal Sunshine makes me fucking cry every time I watch it. It's honestly a beautiful movie. And I do really the stop motion in this movie is fucking phenomenal. It's probably the best I've seen in a stop motion movie. I think we can all agree at least on that. Like that alone was definitely worth the watch. I think that was definitely really good. It's just I didn't really care about for the characters or anything really going on in the central plot. Kaufman's just kind of all over the place for me. I really like him at the same time, and then there's just movies that I've seen that I just don't really resonate with, but Eternal Sunshine is definitely my favorite that I've seen of his. That's really all I really have to say about it. I don't regret watching it. I think it was definitely like a movie I enjoyed watching it. I just didn't really like it as much as I could have. But I'm sure Collin and Noah probably have a way different opinion than I do. But I thought it was fine. I thought it was okay.
I mean, I don't completely disagree with you.
Right, me neither.
Because, like you said, I mean, the stop motion production quality is all good. Performances are great. I think what I do like about Kaufman's writing is it is very unique and very original. I especially like, like Sebastian said earlier, like about being John Malkovich, how do you even think of this stuff, you know? Mm-hmm. So his stuff are like inherently interesting because of the originality to them. And I think my favorite aspect of Anomalisa was the idea of every other character besides the two main characters being voiced and looking like in the face as the same person, which goes along to the, what was it called? Fergoli syndrome?
Mm.
Yeah, which was the name of the hotel, which is a condition where like you can't differentiate other people from, you think everyone else is one person.
John Malkovich.
Yeah,
exactly. Yeah. So that was really interesting to me, and I liked how I liked the creative choice of having what's his name,
Tom Noonan.
Noonan. Yeah, voice everyone else, and how everyone else looked the same in the face. Also, he has like a really nice voice. Just listening to all the other characters, I was like, he has a nice voice. That was a good casting move.
Although honestly, I think he definitely does a better job than most people would have, and I think you're kind of supposed to feel this way, but I found it kind of like grating towards the end, where he just has like this very distinct style of speaking. Like he has like I guess I don't really know what to call it, but like just a weird
radio voice almost.
Yeah. I don't know, but I found it like a little. No, I know what you mean. I mean, or like a voice actor voice. Like, I don't really know what to call it. Okay. So, did you want to say anything else, Collin?
Yeah, I had a little bit. Or I didn't really mind. That never bothered me. It's just like Sebastian said, I just couldn't really care about the characters at all. I found, like most of the other Kaufman films I've seen, boring because I couldn't really care about anything. I think all the ideas are interesting, and I think the themes and like message at its core and all like are there. But like by the end of the movie, I'm just left cold. I don't feel anything for like these people, and it's because, especially for this movie, all the emotional beats are like soaked in awkwardness and cringe at times, which
yes.
It's definitely purposeful, and I understand why, because there are definitely people like that, you know, who are depressed or like sexually frustrated or whatever, who, you know, they go on a date or something and it's just like, ugh, you've heard the stories, right? But it was I like the whole time in the movie I was just like, oh God, you know, this is so,
Okay, that was pretty much my whole like thing why it didn't really connect with me. I don't know. I mean,
didn't resonate.
Okay, sorry.
as
I
a-
really didn't mean to cut you off. Do you
No,
have,
it's fine.
is that it? Okay. So
Go
I
ahead.
think, and honestly, like, I guess to preface this, I haven't really seen, like, it's been probably like a year since I've seen any other Kaufman movies, so like it's possible that revisiting them I'd have the same problems that like Collin and Sebastian have with them, and it's possible I might not like them as much. I don't really know. But like the thing about this movie is I find it weirdly like, yeah, like fetishistic and like cringy in a way that I think the other Kaufman movies like are on the surface, but then once you actually watch them, they kind of like veer away from that, and all of them are like kind of deconstructed in a way that Anomalisa really doesn't, at least for me. And like obviously the ending, like the last literally like 20 seconds of the movie, kind of deconstructed in a kind of nice way. But I mean that's 20 seconds. Come on, man. I'm not.
Yeah,
gonna
the
like your
ending
movie
felt
just
Yeah.
because.
really abrupt to me, really rushed. I was just like, oh wait, what? So I rewinded it, and I was like, wait, was that it?
Yeah, I didn't even necessarily think it was rushed. I was just like, by that point, I was already so like done with the movie and just like
Yeah.
frustrated by it. And I was like, come on, man, you being like, another movie that I don't think any of you have seen is 500 Days of Summer, which is kind of like the same thing. It's like the whole movie is Joseph Gordon-Levitt, like.
I have seen
being-
that.
Oh
Is
yeah,
that the one
okay,
where he has
so
cancer? Or is that
no,
50?
No,
no,
that's
like
50-50.
50-50.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah, weird. I never noticed that, but yeah, they both start with 5-0. Anyway, it's like the whole movie is like Joseph Gordon-Levitt is like lusting after Zooey Deschanel, and it's very like woe is me in the way that a lot of Kaufman movies are.
Yes,
But-
yeah.
Like, and then it doesn't really, and then like the last 2 minutes of that movie are like, oh, you know, it was bad that he did this, and I'm like, yeah, I know. Like, I watched the movie, I don't know, and like this movie, I just kind of felt the same way. Like, you really. Like a lot of Kaufman movies, I feel like you kind of start out sympathizing for the character at least a little bit,
Yeah.
with the exception of Synecdoche, which is like just weird. But all of them, like they start out kind of sympathizable, and then you realize like, oh, actually they're not great. But then I feel like they do kind of. I mean, I guess being John Malkovich, he does not learn a lesson, and that's like the
Yeah.
point of the movie. But Eternal
Yeah.
Sunshine, like he sort of does learn a lesson, although you could argue that he doesn't. Whatever. And for Anomalisa, I just feel like there's, I don't know, man. Like, I just
Yeah.
really didn't like it.
That's
I think
that's
I might have liked this movie less than anyone here, and the only reason that I gave it 2.5 is because the animation is like great, and
Yeah.
like there's just nothing else like it, and there is like a lot of attention to detail. And like the first, like before Jennifer Jason Leigh's character was introduced, I'm like, honestly, this is fine and not like too angering, but I'm expecting it to go somewhere, and then it just never does.
Yeah. I will say when Jennifer Jason Leigh's character was introduced, it brought a sense of energy that kind of
Mhm.
woke me up for a minute. I was like, okay, hey, we're getting somewhere. And then it just kind of, I don't want to say it like veered off, but I just still by the end I wasn't feeling anything. I think
I don't
the big thing I noticed, which I also talked about in my Being John Malkovich review, was like Noah said, Kaufman is very woe is me. He self pities so hard.
Yeah.
It's just like miserable to endure because it's just like, oh, I'm sad and depressed and horny and God,
Yeah.
you know, I hate everything. But that's how all of his movies are. That's how
Yeah, they are.
it just feels like that. And I think that's part of what leaves me cold. Not because a character like that can't be redeemable or you can't sympathize him for. Because like Noah also said, at the beginning of most of his films, you kind of care, you know. But it's just how they go about telling the complete story. By the end, for me, none of them feel like conclusive. None of them feel finished.
Yeah, I see. That's how I feel about most of them. But Eternal Sunshine to me is like the only like Kaufman movie to me that works because it just, I don't know. I like that movie. Just to me, I think the like everything about it works in a way for Kaufman. But like everything else I've seen from Kaufman is like, yeah, it's like all about self pity. But like the thing about Eternal Sunshine is, I mean, I don't know. It just kind of works because I do kind of sympathize with Joel and.
Mm.
Comment on the relationship, like it just feels real. That's why I like about the movie. It feels real.
Sure.
It doesn't feel like it's like some, you know, it just everything about that movie, even with the weird like mind erasing shit. It just feels real in terms of like the plot.
It's
and,
grounded in reality.
Yeah.
Yeah. And Joel never veers into like psychopath territory.
Yeah,
which
exactly,
David
no.
Doulis does in this.
Yeah. And so I think that's part of the other thing. Like, where the emotional beats could be, because all of his, like I said, all of his movies do deal with very human things, very human emotions and realities and all that kind of thing, all that kind of stuff. But it gets for me, it gets bogged down with all the weird stuff being, stuffed on top, to where by the end I don't feel anything because all that emotional stuff gets hidden.
I think if it was structured like a real movie, like a regular movie, it would have been like a lot better, in my opinion. Without the
I don't think it's
Kaufmanism.
necessarily structured.
Yeah, I don't think it's structured.
No, I mean
strangely.
I mean without the Kaufmanisms. Like if he wrote this just like a regular like kind of like drama or something, I think it could have been like a lot better. It's just like the Kaufman like fling in this movie doesn't work.
Possibly.
I kind of like, I don't know, I like the weird Kaufmanisms, like the Tom Noonan stuff. Okay, so the most interesting thing about this movie for me was the thing that is later revealed to be a dream sequence where it's like, oh, Tom Noonan was like in love with you the whole time and he's like an entity. It's not just like this guy perceives everyone as someone else, but it is like actually everyone else is like one entity. And I was like, oh, that's interesting. And then it's a dream. Oh, and also the other thing that like really, really bothered me was like the whole like mask thing, like your face is a mask and then it only comes off in a dream. Like, come on. And it's like an obvious metaphor. Like, really? Anyway.
Yeah, I was a little disappointed by the dream too. I thought it would expand upon maybe more of what happened in his dream later on, but I guess it kind of does, but not really.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, it's just because of like the tone of this movie, and just because I couldn't get into the characters because of Kaufman's sense of like self-pity, depression, miserablism, pessimism sort of stuff, as well as like how I think the weird things distract from the emotional core. At this point, I just don't think he and I are on the same wavelength.
Yeah.
They just don't really affect me in any way. Nothing.
At this point.
Yeah, like by the end of all of his films, even Eternal Sunshine, which I don't really care for. I mean, it feels like there should be more to it, even though there's like in a sense a lot already there. It just feels like there should be more to it, and it just leaves me with a sense of, okay, that's it. Well, I didn't feel anything. So
how did you not feel anything watching Eternal Sunshine?
I don't know.
Yeah,
maybe I'm the one with problems.
That's how I feel about like with what you said about towards Sanctity, New York. I don't know. Both those movies, or both of his directorials, are just so like profound to me in that sense, I guess, where it's just I watch them and it's not something where I like really analyze or psychoanalyze. It's just there. It's just like that feeling that I have.
I'm not necessarily trying to psychoanalyze it, but it's just like when you're watching it, it doesn't emotionally resonate.
Yeah.
I mean, this one is like reverse profound for me in that like I really hated it watching it and I had to kind of like figure out why, like how to best describe that. So
I feel like if you get like I don't know, someone could like watch like Eternal Sunshine just like it, but like I don't know, I feel like since I've been through some relationships, it just kind of resonates with me a little more because it just kind of has that vibe kind of like about it. But I don't know, this movie didn't really do it for me though.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah. So I guess that's it. Do we want to go around the horn? What we gave it?
Sure. I mean, I guess I'll start because I mean, you guys were obviously way lower. It was a 10 out of 10. The second watch, it was way less.
Okay.
Not even way less. It was a 4 out of 10. But I still think that like there's a big difference.
4 out of 10.
Or
you mean
not 8 out of 10. I'm still used to saying Letterboxd like 4.5 and all that. I still think it's a big difference on that. I don't know. Yeah. I guess this is the exact same way that I felt. Yeah. This is the exact same way that ended up being when we did Synecdoche, New York.
Yeah.
And it was just
but I would have defended Synecdoche, Thomas.
Yeah.
So.
I thought you'd be on my side for this one, but I definitely see what you're saying. I understand why you don't like it.
I think it just really comes down to personal taste. It doesn't really work for me. As interesting as some of the ideas are, and as well as the movies, as well made as the movies are, I just don't get anything really from the end. I gave it a 4 out of 10.
All right, yeah.
Give it
5.5.
Which
is okay. So both of us are 5 out of 10s.
So that is a 5.5 average
Damn.
out of 10.
It's a
More than
low score,
halfway
but
there.
yeah.
Yeah.
Halfway to a masterpiece.
Halfway there.
All right.
But yeah, so I guess it's my pick, right? For this one.
Yes.
Yeah. So I have decided to come back to the English language and come back to the US.
You have?
Yeah. There's a film I saw a couple years ago. It came out in 2018, so relatively new. It's with Natalie Portman. It is a satire of sorts. It is called Vox Lux. And I'm really excited to rewatch it and to see
Me
your
too.
guys' opinion.
I'm excited to rewatch it as well because Collin told me about it,
Sucks.
and
I saw it
I
in
watched-
theaters and it blew me
Oh.
away.
Pretty sure. I know I've at least heard of this, but
the cinematography
me
in this
too.
movie is great.
Oh yeah, it's an interesting one. So yeah, I'm looking forward to you guys' thoughts.
I am too. It's gonna be a good one.
it's a good cast. I mean,
Yeah.
Portman, Jude Law, Willem Dafoe.
That's cute, though. Yeah.
Yeah, it's gonna be interesting.
And then it's got Natalie Portman. She's actually really good in this movie. She gives a
Yeah.
really good performance.
Oh,
Because
yeah.
I hadn't seen her like in anything really special in a while, and this was pretty good. It's pretty good.
I think I can't remember her name. The girl from Killing of a Sacred Deer is in this.
Yeah, Rafe Cassidy.
Yeah. She's pretty good. So yeah, interesting to hear your guys' thoughts. I think that's going to wrap up the Post Pro Podcast episode 17.
17.
Be sure to tune in next week when we review Vox Lux.
Definitely.
Alrighty.